With the Iowa Democratic caucuses less than a month away, another Democratic candidate has ended their campaign. Who was it? None other than self-help author and New Age lecturer Marianne Williamson. To be honest, I kind of expected her to drop out since December due to her low poll numbers nationally, where she had been averaging less than 1%, and in the early nominating states such as Iowa, where in a recent poll it was shown that she was polling very, very low, as well as in other states such as New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. And not to mention, she, just like Castro, was unable to break into the upper top tier of the primary field, which has remained solid for a few months now. Which I think in the future will start making more candidates make or break their campaigns, as we've seen already. Especially with the upcoming caucuses and primaries. And not to mention, her dropout comes about a week after her laying off all of her campaign staff, which kind of signaled to me that the writing was on the wall for her. Another issue for her, I think, was that she wasn't really catching on with voters. For instance, due to her not being a well-known politician, or a politician at all, she was somewhat of an outsider. So she had some favorability with voters. However, once they started to get to know her, her popularity started to decrease. Possibly due to her unconventional bid for the office and her new age rhetoric, in which she claimed, "I'm going to harness love for political purposes," that made even the most open-minded voters, even Democratic ones, turned off when it came to her campaign, criticizing her for her heterodox views and walkiness. You can't make that up. Not to mention, she only made it to the first two debates back in June and July, and after that never really met the threshold for any future debates. But her campaign was still going, and she even claimed that she would keep going until the money dried up, which it eventually did, which led to the layoff of all of her campaign staff, as I stated earlier. With her exit from the race, it now leaves only 13 Democratic candidates left, and it's also starting to show us who will most likely be the Democratic presidential nominee, or at least who will be left in the race. As the once crowded field continues to shrink and shrink as time goes on, which to some voters is a relief they've been waiting for. As for who could be next, well, I just look at each candidate's polling, fundraising, and effect on voters, and you might just see who could possibly be next.